The local government news roundup is supported this month by the National Growth Areas Alliance Emerging Growth Areas Forum. Australia is working towards 1.2 million new homes over 5 years, and growth councils are on the front line of delivering them. It's not just about land release and planning approvals, it's about getting the roads, drainage, schools, libraries and community infrastructure right from day one. And that's the focus of the 2026 Emerging Growth Areas Forum, hosted by the National Growth Areas Alliance on Tuesday the 4th of August at Hume City Council Town Hall in Broadmeadows. It's running alongside the NGAA National Congress. For the first time, council leaders from emerging and established growth areas will come together to share what's worked and what hasn't in managing rapid growth, covering organisational readiness, working with developers, building community trust, and making the case for state and federal investment. If your council is facing rapid population growth, this is a forum built for you. Registration is open now to all local governments. Head to the NGAA website, ngaa.org.au, to secure your place. Today on the Roundup, Hume's Mayor condemns unacceptable violence. Victoria's Code of Conduct under fire for gagging councillors. Kiama's bid to forego a costly by-election blocked. A New South Wales Council CEO set to retire. A Queensland Mayor's warning over the government's disaster funding shake-up. A solid waste budget blunder in Tasmania. A failed attempt to remove a WA Council mayoral car. And a new Council CEO appointed in the NT. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. Welcome to the Local Government News Roundup for Friday the 3rd of July 2026, your daily update on all that's happening across the local government sector, brought to you by the VLGA, the national broadcaster on all things local government, Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems, built from real on-the-ground experience. Welcome to the podcast, wherever you're listening across Australia or around the world. And the Mayor of Hume City Council in Melbourne has released a statement following the death of a 15-year-old boy found with stab wounds outside Craigieburn Community Hospital on Wednesday night. Mayor Carly Moore described the level of violence as completely unacceptable, saying incidents like this are happening far too often and should concern every member of the community. Mayor Moore extended condolences to the boy's family, friends and school community and said the council would continue to monitor the situation and seek updates from Victoria Police on matters affecting community safety. In more Hume news, the council has joined with EPA Victoria to target unlawful waste activity at a property in Wildwood. Following inspections in April and May, authorities detected significant stockpiles of industrial waste, including materials suspected to contain asbestos, as well as active waste burning. An environmental action notice has been issued to the occupant, requiring an immediate end to the burning, the lawful removal of all industrial waste by the 28th of July, and independent hygienic verification of asbestos clearance by the 3rd of August. Investigations by the EPA are ongoing. The Age has reported on calls for reform of Victoria's model councillor code of conduct after a series of findings that critics say are stifling free speech in local government. The latest trigger, Wyndham's former mayor Josh Gilligan, suspended for 2 weeks, in part for comments he gave to a newspaper after speaking out on a community issue before the council had adopted a formal position. A parliamentary motion calling for a review has passed with cross-party support, though the Labor government is not obliged to act on it. Warrnambool City Council has launched an investigation into illegal land clearing and rubbish dumping at the Thunder Point Coastal Reserve. Chief Executive Officer Andrew Mason says dozens of trees have been felled and earth moved without permission to construct makeshift bike tracks. The council is now reviewing monitoring options and environmental remediation plans for the site, and Mr Mason warns that further action will be taken if the behaviour persists. The City of Casey says it's taking an innovative approach to tackling graffiti, unveiling its new graffiti management program, which shifts toward a preventative community-led model while maintaining rapid removal protocols. The strategy introduces legal urban art walls and factors public space design into vandalism prevention. Mayor Stephen Hume says the framework balances strict enforcement with creative community partnerships to enrich the local landscape. And in more news from around Victoria, the city of Ballarat has introduced a new tiered pricing structure and a second gatehouse at its transfer station to reduce congestion and improve processing efficiency. Community satisfaction has rebounded in Corangamite Shire, according to the council. Its latest survey shows overall performance climbed 5 points to 63, driven by a major 10-point increase in community consultation. Frankston is developing a new strategic partnerships framework to tighten governance around its external memberships and advocacy alliances. The framework will establish clear approval pathways and review mechanisms. Mornington Peninsula Shire has adopted its budget, with councillors voting to maintain the 2.75% rate cap, and it includes a boost to road and drainage investment of 24%. The final annual waste charge has been trimmed to $507, down from the originally proposed $570. And Central Goldfields Shire Council has adopted its new domestic animal management plan, committing to investigate and implement a 24-hour cat curfew. You can find out more about all of those stories from the links that you'll find in the transcript on our website at lgnewsroundup.com. Making news today out of New South Wales, Kiama Council's bid to postpone or scrap an August 22 by-election at an estimated cost of $200,000 has been knocked back by the Office of Local Government. The vacancy follows Councillor Mike Kane's resignation. The Minister's office says the request can only be considered if the vacancy occurs within 18 months of the next council elections, which are due in 2028. And the council has endorsed a strategic pathway to bring back its New Year's Eve fireworks display, balancing community expectations with financial sustainability. It's allocated $20,000 in its budget and will collaborate with tourism and business stakeholders to secure external sponsorship. Alternative options, including a scaled-back community activation, remain on the table if full funding falls short. Central Coast Council CEO David Farmer will retire in September, according to the Coast Community News this week. Appointed in 2021 during a period of financial administration, Mr Farmer successfully steered the organisation back to stability. Mayor Laurie McKenna praised his leadership ahead of a recruitment process for a permanent successor. In news from the inner west, in Sydney's inner suburbs, the council has opened its first ever Pride Walk, a heritage trail spanning 17 sites across the local government area, marking significant people, places and moments in the region's LGBTQIA+ history. And Inner West Council will co-host a Sydney summit on poker machine harm with Wesley Mission and the New South Wales Council of Social Service. The summit, scheduled for the 16th of July, is aimed at building pressure on the Parliament of New South Wales to act on gambling reform. To Camden Council, which has reaffirmed its commitment to the Camden Bypass extension following state and federal planning funding. The council has acknowledged the investment as a key milestone in its ongoing advocacy campaign to ensure regional infrastructure keeps pace with rapid population growth. Mayor Therese Fideli said the extension has been one of the council's key advocacy priorities. Penrith City Council has welcomed infrastructure commitments in the new New South Wales budget while maintaining strong advocacy for regional connectivity. Mayor Todd Carney noted a $200 million upgrade for Elizabeth Drive ahead of Western Sydney Airport's upcoming freight flights as a highlight of the budget, but he says securing a full-length metro rail connection remains the top priority. And Parramatta is a step closer to a 24-hour CBD after securing a $195,000 government grant to kickstart its special entertainment precinct. The trial precinct in the CBD will support extended trading hours, live music and performance, and more late-night dining and shopping. The program is being delivered by the Office of the 24-Hour Economy Commissioner. We've heard a bit already about growth challenges in today's news, and the Roundup this month is supported by the NGAA's 2026 Emerging Growth Areas Forum. Australia is aiming to deliver 1.2 million new homes in 5 years, and councils are on the front line, planning neighbourhoods and building the roads, drainage, schools, libraries and community infrastructure to match. This forum will be held on Tuesday the 4th of August at Hume City Council Town Hall in Broadmeadows, Melbourne, alongside the NGAA National Congress. Registration is open now at ngaa.org.au. Let's go to Queensland, where Ipswich City Council says proposed federal changes to Australia's disaster recovery funding arrangements could leave Queensland and councils like Ipswich worse off after natural disasters. The federal government is considering a shift to a standard 50-50 cost split with the states, down from an average Commonwealth contribution of about 64% and up to 75% in some cases. The council warns it would mean slower repairs to roads, parks and waterways and more pressure on ratepayers. Mayor Teresa Harding will write to the Prime Minister and relevant ministers, formally objecting to the changes. The Queensland Government has committed $20 million for enabling infrastructure along the Copper String Corridor. Flinders Shire Council Mayor Kate Peddle has welcomed the targeted funding, which will deliver strategic upgrades along the Flinders Highway. The investment is designed to support the safe transport of oversized equipment for the upcoming Flinders substation, while improving long-term freight efficiency for the region's transport and cattle industries. Townsville City Council has been accredited as an established welcoming city, joining just 8 other Australian municipalities, assessed across 6 key criteria, including civic participation and economic development. The council has now been encouraged to apply for advanced status. And Lockyer Valley Regional Council has adopted a new data breach policy to bolster its cyber security framework and meet updated legislative requirements. Deputy Mayor Chris Wilson says the policy establishes clear protocols to contain and assess suspected breaches, actively limiting potential data loss for both the workforce and the community. From Tasmania today, Circular Head Council has admitted to publishing incorrect budget figures for its solid waste services following an error identified by one of its councillors. Councillor Tony Hine raised concerns in May, and the council was then given an update in June. The Mercury reported that the corrected figures amend the solid waste revenue budget to $3.6 million. In response to ongoing asset and landfill challenges, the council has launched a new community partnership strategy to address long-term waste management. West Tamar Council has passed its budget 7 votes to 1, locking in residential rate increases of up to 6.3%. As reported by the Mercury, the decision follows community tension over infrastructure spending priorities and internal financial sustainability indicators tracking at high risk. Meanwhile, at Kentish Council, a rate increase of 6.8% has been confirmed in its new budget, which also includes an increase in $80 for waste management. Add those last 2 rate rises to a string of higher than CPI rises, and some quite extreme across Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia, Tasmania, and in some cases New South Wales. And we're asking our audience whether these large rate increases are due to a failure of state and federal funding models, or are they necessary decisions by councils managing real cost pressures? That's the question in our weekly poll on the LG News Roundup website. So far, 27% feel it's a failure of funding models, 18% say that it's necessary council decisions, while a further 45% say it's both. But there is a small group that say it's neither. If you'd like to have your say, pop on the website and vote in our weekly poll. It'll be up for a few more days. That's at lgnewsroundup.com. In news out of Western Australia, a bid to scrap the City of Joondalup Mayor's council-funded car has been voted down, according to Perth Now. Councillor Rebecca Pizzi argued the dedicated vehicle was an unnecessary expense during cost of living pressures, suggesting the Mayor could instead use public transport, taxis, rideshare, or a private car with mileage claims. But council officers warned reimbursing mileage for the volume of official travel could cost ratepayers more than keeping the current arrangement, and would add administrative burden. The current mayoral vehicle is a 2025 Toyota RAV4 bought for just under $49,000, with annual running costs estimated at around $6,000. A proposal to explore a proposed City of South Park amalgamation between South Perth and Victoria Park councils has been knocked back At a South Perth Council meeting, a motion for the CEOs to discuss a community survey lapsed after former councillor Tim Howling resigned, and no one had written authority to move it. The council also heard no money was set aside for a letter mail-out, estimated at $40,000, with a full survey likely to cost more. And to the NT, Alice Springs Town Council has appointed City of Vincent Infrastructure Director Peter Varys as its new Chief Executive Officer, according to the NT Independent. Mayor Astor Hill says Mr Varys brings more than 30 years of local government leadership experience and will help drive a strong pipeline of upcoming infrastructure projects. Former CEO Andrew Willsmore left the role in May. And Councillor Andrew McTaggart has resigned from the NT's Victoria Daily Regional Council. He's been thanked for his years of service and community commitment by the Mayor, Brian Pedwell. The casual vacancy will be managed under advice from the Electoral Commission, while operations remain focused on delivering a new regional plan, says Mayor Pedwell. We've been all around Australia. Now let's head overseas for some stories of interest. Starting in the US, as 4th of July weekend approaches, local authorities across California are deploying surveillance drones and offering cash rewards of up to $500 to crack down on illegal fireworks ahead of the 4th. USA Today reports that several municipalities are utilising the technology to pinpoint launch locations and mitigate heightened wildfire risks during peak fire season. The city of Carson is one of a number going down the incentive path, offering rewards of up to $500 for people who report firework use. The state of Texas has seen a sharp backlash against new data centres, according to USA Today. In San Marcos, the city council has voted 4-3 to tighten zoning rules and effectively ban data centre development, citing concerns over local water and power demands. That comes as new polling from the University of Texas shows 56% of Texas voters oppose data centres in their communities. The governor, Greg Abbott, says new regulations are coming, including requiring data centres to pay for electric infrastructure and use more water-efficient cooling. And yet another data centre story today, this one from Canada, where a push to recycle waste heat from those centres is gaining traction, offering a potential blueprint for Australian councils navigating the artificial intelligence boom. McMaster University researchers say that with the correct infrastructure, excess thermal energy can be successfully piped into local district networks to heat civic buildings and residential zones. While Europe operates over 6,000 of these thermal networks, adoption remains slow in North America, prompting calls for municipal leaders to establish mandatory waste heat recovery baselines for all future data centre developments. More on that from CBC News. To New Zealand now, and a new economic report reveals that Greater Christchurch is operating as a single, highly integrated powerhouse centred firmly on Christchurch City. Data showing that surrounding towns are deeply tied to the city, sending roughly 80% of their out-of-town commuters into the urban core. This massive commuting wave is matched by a booming retail flow, with district residents spending over $916 million annually inside city limits. The report highlights that key institutions, from ports and airports to universities, cross traditional council lines to drive the region. And while Greater Christchurch continues to outpace national population and housing growth, experts note this shared economic footprint is just one piece of the puzzle as officials weigh upcoming local government reforms. A new survey reveals Christchurch residents are prioritising infrastructure coordination and reliable services ahead of potential council amalgamations. The council says over 7,000 responses highlight key concerns regarding how local representation would be maintained under a broader regional model. Now, I've put this next story at the end in case you want to switch off, and you might want to do that if you're a lover of guinea pigs. This is a story out of the UK where Pembrokeshire County Council has approved plans for an off-grid development near Jeffreyston. It's called the One Planet development, which allows a couple to breed guinea pigs for meat as part of a sustainable smallholding. Dave and Mayu Phillips say they'll raise 3 breeding pairs alongside rabbits, pigeons, honey and walnuts to help feed their household. And the Council Planning Committee has backed the scheme unanimously with conditions. That's a story of a different flavour, and you can read more about that at BBC News. And that's where we end the week here on the Local Government News Roundup. I hope you found something of interest today or across the week. This was edition number 610, recorded on Friday the 3rd of July 2026, and brought to you as usual by our founding sponsor, the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with a brand new episode of VLGA Connect coming away later today. Support for the podcast comes from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and from Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. Head to lgnewsroundup.com for more on this episode, including story links, to vote in our weekly poll, to have your say on stories by participating in our comment feature, and subscribe to get alerts for new posts and episodes. We record in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening, and bye for now. Support for the Roundup comes from Symphony 3, allowing councils to connect their systems securely, to automate their data flows, and to monitor performance in real time. And right now, councils are lining up for their own emergency dashboard, like the one that Symphony 3 has created for the city of Greater Bendigo. The dashboard helps keep the community safe and prepared before, during and after emergencies. It pulls together live data, including weather data, traffic data, emergency incidents, unplanned and planned disruptions, news and social media feeds. Visit www.symphony3.com to learn how you can get an emergency dashboard for your community.